small sound clip before we get started on installing the bridge doctor in the Martin here. Alright, so this is the bridge doctor, the one where you don't actually have to drill into the bridge. And you'll see it's got these studs that stick out, the brass studs. And that's the back of it. You can pause it and read that if you need to, or, you know, I'm sure this is online. It's made in Roswell, New Mexico. That's funny. But I'm hoping that, you know, this will protect the guitar top over time. Because, you know, there is some bellying, and it's going to happen. I mean, it just, the forces of the strings, you know, we're looking at, what, like 140 pounds per string? Or, no, excuse me, 140 pounds total. Like 30 pounds per string. You know, they kind of vary, of course, but, and, you know, I'm sure that varies per string type, manufacturer, etc., etc. But, you know, this was $60, and I figure if it saves me working on the guitar in 10 years, it might be worth it. Brands like Breedlove actually come with bridge doctors, and I think that's so they can make the tops thinner, you know, for whatever that's worth. The only problem that I see with this kit is that these have these lock washers on the bottom here, and that's going to be on the bridge plate underneath the bottom, so I would want to be really careful to not mess up that bridge plate underneath there. I mean, it's pretty much pristine, so I probably won't be going like super duper tight on that, just kind of snug it down. But I think it's pretty much as easy as putting this in here, and that sits like that. And then you come in here and put your nut on. You do that for each string. Well, I guess that's what you want right there. Alright, there's some good instructions here. So we're installing basically the bridge doctor in the D hole, and not to over tighten things, but to use a paper clip or a safety pin, something like that, to help tighten. You know, all flat top guitars are not flat. You know, there is some bellying, always. Three-eighths shorter. Okay. I think it also said that these pins have different size holes, so there'll be some skinnier ones and some larger ones. Alright, I'll take you in here and so you can see that the hole diameters are slightly different. So you got to put them in the right spot. And alright, here we go. Thank you all for tuning in today. I really appreciate your time, your attention. There is some adjustments here in this block to move this piece to make it fit better as needed. I think you want that to be kind of right underneath the saddle. See what I got here to tighten these. I mean, I guess technically you could probably use a string. Alright. I've been thinking about YouTube a lot lately. It's, you know, kind of an interesting journey, you know. I'm like a year plus into this and, you know, trying to determine if I'm need to make changes, or even if this is YouTube is worth it, you know what I'm saying? Because I like to work on guitars more, and so it's like, we'll see. It's kind of like you just keep producing, and eventually it'll come back around. That's the hope. But I'm getting pretty close now to 150 videos if you count shorts, which I really don't have that many shorts. I try to produce content that I like, which is longer form. Sure, it might have the unedited stuff in it, and it might be shaky or not perfect or whatever. I mean, I do try to trim some of it, but at the same time, I like to be able to show the detail of what's going on. Now, whether or not I do a good job of that, it's hard to say. I'm using a freaking cell phone. I'll be a good cell phone, which I'm very lucky to have. Oh man, this is going to be difficult to get to. I'm going to take this one out. Okay, so that's good. There's no marring there. Yeah, I was worried about that, so. I mean, and that wasn't too tight, but It was snug, that's for sure. Oh yeah, that's tight. I like that. Man, that's good stuff. This was built by a luthier, I do believe, in Portland, Oregon, or Vancouver, Washington. So, you know, it's nice to be able to see it up close to know how they do it. You know, you're just sanding this way, but you want to maintain the same height. So it's quite a skill. That. I guess generally, if you think about like the guitar YouTube space, you know, is that actually oversaturated? You know, will I ever actually have a channel that's found and be useful? You know, YouTube's bigger and bigger every day, so, you know, and I'm not trying to say I'm something special or have some unique idea, you know, which is totally fine. I'm trying to be unique, but, you know, trying to share my journey. Trying to figure out this guitar repair stuff, which has been fun. I mean, like, I feel much more confident nowadays, especially after the fender treatment there. Like, sure, all of this stuff you could probably, you know, take the back off, change the braces, you know, not have to worry about putting a bridge doctor in there in the first place. I don't want to do that in almost all of these cases. Alright, there we go. I mean, it actually kind of looks cool. Let's see here. Insert the tension rod in the guitar and through the tension hole in the system block. Put the pointed end toward the guitar's tail block. So the pointed end towards the tail block. Mark the tension rod where it protrudes from the system block. Remove the tension rod from the guitar and cut 3/8 of an inch shorter than the mark. the screw is in there. I do believe they say in the instructions it's a 3/16. Should be that one. I do wish they made a tool that would allow you to adjust the string doctor with the strings on. You know, just to kind of tighten it a little bit or loosen it just a hair if you feel like the sound is not quite right. Because with this, you know, the wood changes over time. You know, the seasonality or whatever, the shrink and swell. It does need to be adjusted, just like your truss rod. So, and it will definitely affect your tone, in my humble opinion. Because there was quite some time where it was like seasonally, my breedlove, I enjoyed playing it in the summer, I think, but not in the winter. You know, it would dry up and you know, just not sound as good. Let's check where that's hitting in there. That's exactly where we want it. Right to the side of the heel, or of the end pin. That's touching where we want it. And pencil. But anyway, I wanted to say thank you all for being here today with me. I mean, we're like, what, 20 minutes into the video or something like that? You know, my perception of time when I'm videoing is really terrible. But you know, it means a lot to me to have 100 subscribers that are interested in what I do, regardless of what it is. You know, I really appreciate that. I really hope that, you know, this helps people in the long run feel more comfortable in doing guitar repairs. Because for the longest time, I was scared to adjust my truss rod. I didn't want to mess up my guitar. I would take it in and he would look at it and adjust it and give it back to me. And, you know, I think it's kind of their way of getting you in the store. This was Guitar Center in Tacoma. So, and as you can see, there's our line. So we just need to measure 3/8 of an inch back. There's our new line. We'll cut it off there. Yeah, in terms of my subscribers, you know, I really hope that you feel comfortable, you know, commenting on my videos, you know, even if it's just to say hello. I would really appreciate it, you know, constructive feedback. If you see something in the video that I could easily do better, I mean, I'm happy to try and do that also. You know, I'm not claiming to be some amazing videographer or content creator. And that was pretty easy to cut through. I mean, I don't even know how to cut straight, so I'm sure that messes things up a little bit. I can take and file that a little bit and we can work that out. Perfect. That's much better. It's still not perfect, but it's going to work for what we're doing. Back in there, slide the tension rod through to the PO block. And then I use the Allen to push it through. Rod's still spinning. Up a little bit more. About 3/4 of a turn. Now that's not spinning, so let's back it off about a 1/4 turn. Okay, that's spinning freely, so let's tighten it about an 1/8 turn. We go a little bit more. Not have the best grip on it earlier. That's what we want right there. It can be spun, but it's tight, tightish. I bumped it just a little tighter there just to see, just to, for good measure. Let's double check the Alright, reinstall the tension rod pointed in toward the sound hole, so I did that backwards, and install the tension screw. With a 3/16 Allen wrench, adjust the tension on the bridge system. Normally we adjust the tension rod just tight enough so there is no lateral play in the rod. The rod can be rotated between your thumb and forefinger. Of course, if the top needs to be flattened, that does not apply, and the screw should be tightened until the top is in a position near what it was new. Remember that all flat top guitars are not flat. Restring and enjoy. Most guitars have to be played for a while before the wood relaxes and starts to sound the way it should. Don't be afraid to experiment with the tension. It acts much like the sound post in a violin. A small adjustment can make a big, big difference, and I totally agree with that. So let's I'm just going to leave that tension rod. I'm sure it's fine. Now let's change it back the way it should be. It's been a little while since I've installed a bridge doctor, so I don't remember the instructions as well as I did. You see how easy it is to get the tension rod back out. challenging right there. For some reason it's really tight getting that tension rod in there, but we'll change it so this end is toward the sound hole and the end I cut is on the heel block. And actually that's much nicer. A little bit too tight. Now we install the strings again. Which should be challenging. But let's get to it. Is it a good playing guitar if it plays the E chord easily? problem I see is that the string windings are over the bridge, and I think I can hear that buzzing. So I may have to add extra little buttons here on these strings, or on the next set of strings, to offset that. So, I mean, I guess maybe you could rotate the pins a little bit. No, that won't work because it's pulling. We're going to let it sit for a while. We'll come back to it, play it a bunch, and see how it goes. I can already tell it seems flatter immediately. Yep. But thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate it. See, it's already out of tune, so it's still stretching.